welcome back to Star Wars Nerds Unite, a discussion and review podcast focused on Star Wars. I'm your host, timvanautreve. Joining me, as always, Josh the Tosh, internet famous, Mason.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Also welcome to the show, Jennifer Van Autreve. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Our son Maximus is playing in the background. We have no sitter. All of our children are gone besides him. So if you hear weird noises, it's actually just a game he's playing in the background.
He's watching YouTube, actually.
We're a very professional podcast. We also have a dog, a new puppy that we got. Her name is Daisy. She is also in the background. Let's get right into it.
Chewing on a remote.
Oh, good. This podcast, we're going to talk about the novel Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. It was released on April 16th, 2019, interestingly enough. It takes place in a time period before even a Phantom Menace, a.k.a. Episode 1 of Star Wars lore. It is approximated that it came out, or it occurs in 39-240 before the Battle of Yavin. There you go.
Yes.
Obi-Wan's he's only 17.
Yep.
Right now
in the
this
book.
Story.
Yep.
Jennifer.
Yes.
You synopsize for us. Why don't you break that down for us? What happens in this novel?
A lot happens. So, like you said, it takes place before Episode 1. Obi-Wan is about 17. Qui-Gon is 40 or 40-ish. It begins when Obi-Wan is still a Padawan. So
Obi-Wan's still a Padawan in the Phantom Menace.
Well, okay.
Good.
What does that matter?
I'm glad we're not rusty at all. We would go back to normal. It's good. Keep going. Get another few sentences in so we can interrupt you.
Okay. So Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, Master and Apprentice, they have kind of a tenuous relationship. They've been together, I think, since several years already, but they still haven't really clicked. They
gelled.
Yeah, they're not. I don't know. They're always kind of second guessing each other. Obi-Wan feels like Qui-Gon doesn't have enough trust in him, or doesn't think he's always feeling like he's failing Qui-Gon's expectations, and Qui-Gon I don't know, they just don't click together. So towards the beginning of the book, they're on some kind of mission, and Obi-Wan makes a mistake. It's like they can't, I don't know, Qui-Gon gave him some kind of direction, some kind of command or something.
Take care of the door.
And he didn't do it right.
He destroyed the door instead of taking out all the guards at the door.
Yeah. So it starts off with that kind of conflict between the two of them. And they both have it, you hear both of their inner monologues basically about their doubts about, their relationship and everything. And both of them feel bad about their own contribution to making the relationship better, basically. So Obi-Wan, what?
I was just gonna say, and that thread continues through the whole novel, and you sort of start to get a resolution to it by the end.
Well,
that is the main story that's actually occurring.
Their
in
relationship,
the book.
how their relationship builds and changes,
and it ramps up significantly.
Right.
Obi-Wan is so. I didn't know anything about Qui-Gon, really. I knew who he was, and I saw him in the prequels and everything, but I only saw the prequels when I was a teenager. I didn't really understand his character at all or know much about him. So I learned a lot about Qui-Gon. Really, all I've ever known about him, I learned from this book. But he's kind of a rebel. He doesn't always agree with the Jedi Council. And that's another theme. He's kind of the rebel that's always trying to find another way to look at things and not always go with the rules. He kind of tends to break the rules. And Obi-Wan sees everything in black and white. So Qui-Gon gets invited to join the Jedi Council, which is a huge shock to him because he has always kind of questioned them and challenged their decisions. So he's really surprised that they would invite him in. But he's kind of conflicted because if he joins the council, it'll mean that he doesn't get to finish his apprenticeship or whatever you call it with Obi-Wan. So he'd have to find somebody else, and he's already 17, so he doesn't have that much time left. So it's kind of putting him in a bad position, and he doesn't want Obi-Wan to feel bad and feel like he doesn't want to be his master. So he's a little bit conflicted. So it turns out kind of badly between them because Obi-Wan finds out from somebody else that Qui-Gon's been invited, so he feels like betrayed that Qui-Gon didn't tell him himself, and that, you know, he feels like he's always felt like he's never lived up to his expectations and that Qui-Gon was trying to get rid of him, basically. So Qui-Gon tells the council he needs a little bit of time to think about it, and in the meantime, they get sent on a mission.
Before we get on the mission to Pygel,
yeah.
I feel like you talked about a lot of things, but you left out the most important things.
I haven't finished.
Well, you've already skipped past these parts in the book, so I assume you're not going to backtrack in your synopsis.
Okay, what?
Yoda
didn't vote for Qui-Gon
to be on the council. He was the only one that was a dissenting vote.
So that hurt Qui-Gon.
Yeah,
it really shook his...
Well, he didn't find that out yet.
He did.
No, he didn't. He didn't find it out until after him and Yoda had a conversation way later.
No, Obi-Wan tells him. Anyways.
No, Obi-Wan doesn't tell him. Yoda tells him.
Anyways, the thing that I was going to point out is that Qui-Gon makes, instead of Obi-Wan training like all the other Padawans, like practicing lightsaber forms and doing other somewhat interesting things to Obi-Wan, he makes him go study books and holocrons in the library for him about all these prophecies.
One thing that he does is, it's like there's like a basic fighting form, and then there's like it builds, and then there's all these fancier, more like, I don't know, complex other fighting forms. I don't know what they call them, but he never let Qui-Gon move past the first step. Like, he always made him practice like the basic fighting format, whatever. And so that really bothered Obi-Wan because he felt like he felt like Qui-Gon never thought he was good enough and could never move forward. Like, all the other Padawans were doing all kinds of crazy fun stuff. And yeah, he was doing all this boring work and having to stick with the same basic fighting stuff.
And he didn't understand why.
Well, he thought Qui-Gon just didn't think he was ready.
Yeah, and Yoda not thinking that Qui-Gon was ready either impacted Qui-Gon's decision. He didn't want to decide right away. Like, of course, he felt honored, but it really made him doubt whether he should or should not join the council because of both his abandonment or his potential abandonment of Obi-Wan, plus Yoda, the head of the council, not really wanting him there.
And then ultimately they get in a fight, an argument. Yeah. And Qui-Gon decides he's going to join the council just to spite Obi-Wan, basically.
No, he always knew he was going to join. That's not how I remember it at all. So anyway, he still hasn't fully committed to joining the council, but they get sent on a mission to this planet called Pygel. There's a Jedi that's been there as regent of the planet, watching over the royal princess for several years now. And his name is Rael.
Rael Averross. He
knows Qui-Gon. They have a past. Rael was Dooku's Padawan before Qui-Gon. So when Qui-Gon was a Padawan, Rael kind of helped him out and taught him how to deal with Dooku, and just like was a friend.
Kind of a big brother sort of thing.
Yeah. They were close when they were younger. So when Rael become a Jedi. His first Padawan was this young girl. I don't remember her name.
It's irrelevant.
Immaterial.
But Rael was like never a typical Jedi. He was always breaking the rules. He actually got called to the Order. I don't know how you say it. When he was like 5, and that was like unheard of because usually they were babies or very young when they came to the Jedi Temple or wherever they came. Ew. Yuck. I can't tell you what I just looked back and saw the dog chewing on.
It's compelling synopsis.
Sorry. So he was always breaking the rules. He never really felt like he belonged in the council because he had grown up and he knew his family. Like he was torn away from his family at a point in his life where he could remember his like life before being a Jedi. So he was always kind of an outsider and different than the rest. But anyway, when he had this young Padawan, they were in some kind of battle or something, and he was a little bit reckless. Instead of following like what would have been like the protocol and playing it safe, he just came storming in with her, and she ended up getting killed.
Not only he killed her, he had to kill her.
Well, okay, so she got taken over by some robot shooting
mind control nanobots.
Right. And so
Rael had to kill her.
Okay, yeah, he had to kill her. So anyway, after that, he got sent away to become the regent of this young princess who's, I don't even know this backstory with her family. Her parents are gone. I don't know what happened to her.
They got killed.
Got killed somehow. So he's her regent, and he's been like basically running this planet this whole time for several years now. The little girl's about 12, and he's been there for a long time. So do you want to explain the deal that the Jedis are sent to Pygel to try to help coordinate?
There's hyperspace lanes. There's a galactic company that needs hyperspace lanes.
It's like the galactic
company. It's like Evil Corp from Mr. Robot.
Or Megacorp from Wall-E.
It's just a giant corporation that does like 80% of the commerce in the galaxy.
Right.
And they're building a hyperspace lane, and they have to put a pylon on the moon of Pygel or something. And so the chancellor of the Senate sent Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan to go make sure the negotiations basically cross the finish line, because it's really important to the whole galaxy. Because Pygel is like a feudal society and has been kind of out of galactic politics and economy for a long time.
Because they're off a hyperspace lane.
Right.
Like they're
the back country.
Right.
A back country road that's now, they're going to put a expressway through town.
Mm-hmm.
So Rael specifically asked for Qui-Gon to come help them with this, to make sure that they have to sign a treaty basically, and it coincides with the princess's like coronation where she becomes queen. And so there's this treaty that has some kind of negotiation with the
Zerka Corp.
The Zerka, this huge corporation, Zerka Corporation, and who've had a really strong presence on this planet of Pygel for like hundreds of years or something. But the treaty has to do with the princess's
she's gonna turn it into a republic.
Yeah.
A constitutional monarchy.
So
it's irrelevant.
All tied together. It is not. That's like,
it's not really relevant to the story.
Okay, whatever. So they come to Pygel, and things with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are really tense. They're both like mad at each other because Obi-Wan said things that were offensive to Qui-Gon, and because he was all hurt about Qui-Gon leaving to be on the council. And he finally, like, Obi-Wan actually asked Qui-Gon why he never let him move forward with the fighting like everybody else, and Qui-Gon hadn't really answered him yet. He answers him like way later in the book.
At the very last chapter.
They're still like fighting and misunderstanding each other and all this stuff. There's like a side story going on that kind of interweaves with everything.
We don't need to talk about it. There's so many side stories that aren't really that relevant.
The two people,
that we'll never hear from again. Yeah,
that was a huge part of the story.
It was, but it doesn't mean it's important.
I mean, yeah, there was some layers onto the story. There was Zerka is involved in slave trade, so they're actually kind of
evil.
They're a evil monopoly, right?
It's so slavery is supposed to be illegal,
but the way that they do it,
the way that it's like there's like loopholes where certain people can still have slaves.
Right, if they owe so much money, and it's basically indentured servitude, but the way they word something, it's in perpetuity, and anybody born inside of it is also a slave. It's slavery.
Yeah.
And, Qui-Gon has some serious moral qualms with it, and he doesn't want the deal to go through. Like, they sent them to make the deal go through, but they were actually sending them there to, like, oversee and make sure that the deal was like
it happened.
Not just that it happened, that like that's what it became. But it started off as they were going there to like check it over, and so Rael could make sure he wasn't being short-sighted or whatever, like only seeing in front of him.
Well, the real impetus was all the rebellion going on.
So there's it was the way that they thought it was in the beginning. There was this group of performance artists from Pygel. And Pygel has a moon, by the way, and like a lot of this stuff happens on Pygel's moon. Like a lot of the population of Pygel actually lives on the moon, so it's all the same people, but whatever. So there's this group of performance artists that started rebelling against the Zerka Corporation.
But peacefully.
And yes, peacefully rebelling and doing all these like extravagant like public stunts, but not hurting anybody, to just to like
go against
the treaty, right. Because the treaty ultimately gives Zerka complete power over the planet forever. And it started out peacefully, and then they started.
Not they.
Well, everybody thinks it's them. They started to up their game and started to do more dangerous stunts, and so they think that this is now a terrorist group that's jeopardizing the signing of the treaty.
Right.
So that's why
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's first task,
right,
is to try and figure out where this lady is that's leading the dance troupe.
Yeah.
Again, side plot that's not really relevant.
Rahara, who was a slave once in Zerka but escaped.
Yeah.
And now she's teamed up with this guy named Pax, who's like this really huge weirdo.
Who was brought up by protocol droids.
I love his story.
Actually, his backstory is pretty cool.
I freaking love him. I love Pax. Like, he's one of my favorite characters in this book. He's so cool.
They have a lot in common.
Oh, I guess.
So Pax... some pirates attacked his ship, and it was like they were delivering...
He was like a 5-year-old or something.
Yeah, they were delivering protocol droids to somewhere.
And everyone got killed except for him.
Everyone else got killed but him, and he was hidden. And then the ship was left to drift, but all the protocol droids got activated, and they raised him.
They raised him until he was like 20 or something. Like he was floating in space with just a group of protocol droids for decades.
That were only there to serve him.
And they all doted on him, and he's extremely intelligent, but he thinks like a droid because he doesn't understand human feelings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep, the puppy's okay, Max. I think Pax is really cool. So, him and what's her name? Rahara. Their thing is
she's a gemologist. She used to work for Zerka. She was gemologist.
And she worked in the mines.
They go planet to planet buying things that idiots don't know are worth money on other planets and smuggle them out. That's what they do. Yep. They smuggle gems. And so they're going to Pygel because he thinks there's kyber crystals on Pygel.
Right, but it turns out it's only molecularly similar to kyber and looks almost exactly the same, but
it blocks the power of kyber.
You can make shields that block lightsabers
out of these crystals.
Right.
It's
the
like
fake
the
kybers.
Kryptonite for kyber. Kyber kryptonite.
Basically.
Yep. But not if you tune your lightsaber properly. If you tune it properly, then you can go right through the shield like a knife through hot butter.
No, it's because his So you must have not have picked up on that.
It got underpowered.
No.
Right?
Because so we'll get to this point later.
They put
a fake Kyber in his lightsaber.
Yeah, they put one of the fake things. They took the Kyber out, and they thought they were screwing him up, but actually
they were helping him.
Yeah.
It was just a weak lightsaber.
Yes.
But it could penetrate the shield.
Yes. Oy. So anyways,
a lot of stuff.
I'm going to bypass like a third of the book here.
Go ahead.
They ultimately, what happens, the coronation is happening. Obi-Wan's up on stage. They're going to agree to this whole...
Wait, you skipped so
I just said I'm going to skip a third of the book.
That's like 5/3 of the book.
No, it's not. Some rebels, there's some explosions. There's, rebels attacking a base. Stuff happens that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but it adds layers to the book, right? There's a lot of different things happening all at once.
Yeah, but it doesn't really...
It doesn't matter to the story other than making the story a more rounded thing. You're talking about more things and adding depth to the whole situation
to the
with
world.
The planet.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is they're gonna sign the treaty. There's gonna be a big coronation. They think they've figured out who the bad guys were, and their base was abandoned. They've been scared off. So then they're going to hold... Qui-Gon will not go along with it. He thinks something's fishy. He can't get past the slave thing.
He started having visions.
He's been having visions the whole time, right? And there's lots of what's not flashbacks, but it talks about Qui-Gon's time under Dooku's apprenticeship.
Right.
Yeah.
And where he studied these same holocrons that he makes Obi-Wan study.
Right, the ancient Jedi prophecies.
Yeah.
And then he sees Dooku, like, basically, they talk about it in the book in a way that reveals, like, Dooku is basically going to the dark side.
Right.
Yeah, there was a lot of
Qui-Gon
Easter
didn't
eggs.
get that yet.
Right.
And Qui-Gon had also read them, but he wasn't going to the dark side or whatever. He was open to interpretation on them, but then some of the things, like the Kyber that wasn't Kyber... Things like that actually came true
Easter
in his vision.
Eggs. There's all these prophecies that they start talking about, and they start to think that like they're all coming true, and they're trying to figure out. There was one that was like, she who is born from darkness will give birth to darkness, and like there was a lot that I knew. I thought of it the second when they did it, like I knew what it was, but now I can't remember. Some of them were really. But
it gives you. Explains why Qui-Gon is obsessed with the prophecy in A Phantom Menace.
And he thinks he is... Because there's another prophecy that says that basically he will find the chosen one.
Right.
Right.
So he's convinced somewhere along the line.
Because these other prophecies are shown to be true in his own perspective.
Right.
From this story.
And so he has a vision of what's going to happen to this coronation
but it's
ceremony.
Not clear.
Yeah, it's not completely clear.
He just knows that
danger.
He saw that there was blood. He heard screaming, and it's it was during when the princess was supposed to be getting her crown, and so he thought the princess was in danger, and he thought Obi-Wan was in danger.
Correct. So he's against it. He refuses to represent the Republic and sign the treaty.
And also, in the meantime, they have found the so-called terrorist
I already
group.
said that.
Well, you didn't say.
Yeah, their base is abandoned. They think they've found them.
No, that's not what I was going to say.
You're talking about the dancers. The dancers don't matter.
Yeah, they find out
that they actually find out what the treaty means in Hydro language and culture, and they find out that it actually means that Zerka has the power to take over their government for the rest of time.
Sure.
Like literally for eternity. So he starts to understand that why they're rebelling against the treaty in the first place, and that it's not in the best interest of the planet and the people, because Zerka has people there enslaved.
Ultimately doesn't matter.
It matters. That's like his whole motivation, and he goes to the council.
It's part of his motivation.
And he tells them that he does not agree in this treaty and they need to do something different, and then Yoda gets really angry at him, and then Obi-Wan actually goes behind Qui-Gon's back and talks to the council himself, and then they name Obi-Wan as the council representative, and Obi-Wan is now supposed to sign the treaty instead of Qui-Gon, and so he kind of betrays Qui-Gon.
He didn't betray him on the treaty thing. He betrayed him earlier when they were going to go attack the base or something.
He goes behind Qui-Gon's back and talks to the council about how he's been so crazy. Like he's...
well, I can't remember specifically what it was. But then the council comes back to Qui-Gon or to Obi-Wan behind Qui-Gon's back and tells him, Obi-Wan
like,
to do it.
Okay, we decided you're going to sign instead of him.
So he didn't make that choice on his own.
No, he just went and was like, hey, Qui-Gon's kind of acting shady. He's having visions and trying to stop everything. And so...
I thought somebody was specifically in trouble or something, but it doesn't matter ultimately.
Well, the girl that is with Pax, the gem thief, she gets captured again
by Zerka.
So then there's another little plot where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan save her, and then they free all the slaves.
Yep, on this one ship. Yep, irrelevant ultimately. So. Back to the coronation. We finally got back to this coronation. We find out they're gonna coronate her, and there's this priest.
They're gonna coronate her.
Yeah, and she stabs him, and says, "You guys are idiots.
Yeah, you betrayed us.
I'm the rightful ruler of Pygel. There won't be a treaty." And she tries to kill the Zerka people that are there.
Yeah, like as soon as basically she gets the crown on her head, she's the queen, and she has
absolute power.
She has absolute power
until she signs this treaty.
And so this whole time Rael has been there taking care of her, and he thinks that he's doing everything for her, and he's making some kind of reckless decisions, but he thinks it's all to help her and to protect her future and make things easier for her when she's the queen. And this girl basically wants him dead because she doesn't think he's actually looking out for her, and she sees it as everybody taking her power away by giving it to Zerka. And so everybody's shocked. They
have these fake kyber crystal shields.
Yeah, that was another thing. They have they're all like in these shields, and they're powerless to the kyber crystals, but
just keep talking.
Somebody had switched out Obi-Wan's kyber crystal in his lightsaber for one of the fake ones, thinking that would screw him up, but actually that's the only way he was able to get out alive.
Because it would penetrate one of the shields.
Right. So the princess and some of the royal guard that were like on her side...
It was the whole military was on her side.
Get out.
They were the terrorists the whole time. Yeah. It was all a ruse.
And the performance group really wasn't.
They were trying to sell this shield technology to the Hutts. Is why.
But the Hutts bought weapons and stuff from.
No, they wanted the shield tech, and the royal guard bought the weapons. Right. So then they get in their ship and they want to go destroy the slave ship that the lady's on. So then there's a thing where they all go out and save the slaves.
Yeah, and Obi-Wan gets stuck in a ship that's on like some weird autopilot.
And that's when he starts to hate flying. Because up to this point, all he talks about is how he wants to fly.
Yeah, he loves flying. And then he ends up hating it.
Because of this adventure.
Which explains later, I mean, like in the movies where he talks about how he hates flying.
Yeah. So then ultimately Qui-Gon decides he's not going to join the Jedi Council. And he's going to continue to train Obi-Wan in a shocking turn of events.
Well, it wasn't shocking. We already knew. But it was still, I thought they did a really good job building up the characters.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it made Qui-Gon a lot cooler to me.
In some ways, but in other ways not. Like...
I mean, he's a sucker for believing in Dooku.
Right.
Yeah, that was another thing that came out, like, I didn't know very much about...
Good job.
I didn't know very much about Dooku either, besides what I saw in, like, Clone Wars, the cartoon. But you hear more about him, and you hear that he had left the council, and nobody's, like, heard from him at all. And then at the very end of the book, you find out that he had actually reached out to Rael and tried to get Rael to come to the dark side with him and be his apprentice again. And...
Rael turned him down.
Yeah, Rael said no. And Rael said some quote that Qui-Gon had told him. Correct. And so that was good.
Rael was a really cool character.
He was sympathetic, but he was stupid.
I didn't
He
think he
was
was that dumb.
stubborn.
He was really stubborn. I thought he was a really interesting character. There's not a lot of Jedi like him. He's not like the purest Jedi. He was really different, but he was still a good guy.
Max is my dog.
Yeah, okay.
I liked him okay. I didn't like him that much, but
I liked him. I could stand to see a lot more of him.
You won't.
I know. Just like I won't see Pax
No.
or
Pax
whatever her
was
name
really
is.
O'Hara.
cool. This was the first time in any book or movie or story where like there was a relationship between two men that was so intriguing to me. Like their relationship grew and built, and you felt like you wanted them to like connect and get to know each other better and understand each other.
Yeah, she does a really good job at explaining people's like relationship
Motivations,
dynamics
yeah.
between each other. I'm impressed by her very much. She's easily my favorite Star Wars author of current lore, although no one beats Michael Stackpole. IMO. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book quite a lot. I've never, so even when like the old canon was there, I never liked any of the Clone Wars era books. Like the feel of them and the unimportance of them just like bored me to tears, and I could never even finish one. Even when I read every Star Wars book, I only cared about the ones that were afterward. The prequel stuff just I didn't care about at all. So I was not expecting to like this, even though it was Claudia Gray. And once I got past that hut scene at the beginning, I was pretty much sold on it.
The first two chapters were a little rough for me because they were going like different characters and different timelines, and I was like, oh geez, that was kind of bugging me. But then like it stopped, and then it got really good.
Yeah, and I thought she did a really good job when she went back in time and talked about like when they had Dooku and Qui-Gon relating to one another as master and apprentice. It was just like really well timed. I normally don't like flashbacks very much.
You got to hear about
This was
Dooku,
really good.
like when you can see that Dooku was actually starting to kind of doubt things way back when he was Qui-Gon's master, because that's when he got obsessed with the prophecies himself.
No, he had already been obsessed with them and then stopped.
Yeah, he
but then
gave up on them.
when Qui-Gon started,
then he got obsessed
seeing them
again.
again,
No.
he got obsessed again.
He forbid Qui-Gon from.
But then he got
Going
obsessed
back.
with it again, then they started doing it together. And then I don't know, Qui-Gon talked about how he had like started to change, and I don't know. There was
way too much not Easter eggs, but trying to link the story to other stuff.
I thought that was kinda
I thought it
good.
was way more natural in this book than a lot of the other ones
I
I've
didn't
read.
at all.
Careful.
Like Lost Stars had tons of it. Like it was
Yeah.
the whole book.
Yeah.
But none of it felt like bad. Like the whole I hate flying thing, that was so like you didn't need that at all. And it was such a lame reason why he would hate flying.
Yeah, that is
he
a lame
almost
reason.
died.
He
that
almost
wasn't a lame
dies
reason.
for tons of reasons. Does he hate walking? He should hate his lightsaber. He almost dies a lot when he uses it.
I don't know. I don't know that much about the other stories, or don't remember that much, so I don't.
There was
Like,
lots
it
of little
doesn't seem
things.
like
like-
some of the stuff I know I picked up on, and some stuff like I didn't even remember that he hated flying, so I just don't care like that.
Like when they met with the Chancellor and they just had to sneak in that Valorum was going to be the next Chancellor, and like that whole scene, okay, you learn that the government's corrupt, but we already knew the government was corrupt.
They're
It didn't really add
it's
anything.
Just setting the stage, man. It's
It's
just
just-
filling in the colors, the background.
I thought it was unnecessary.
Okay, that's fine. I enjoyed nearly all of the book. I probably could have done without the Pax and Rahara slave storyline
really
that was
like-
also weaved in.
I really like that.
Did you like it, or did you just like it because
They fall in love.
of Pax
Robot boy finds a girlfriend.
somehow?
I did like it because of that, but I thought his story. I thought he was really funny. Like he was
Did you really?
really funny sometimes.
Oh,
Like
I thought he was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes he was annoying, but then there were some times where it was pretty hilarious.
I never found him funny.
I thought he seemed like the snarky droid.
I
because
thought
there were no droids, so he was kind of like took the place of the funny, snarky droid.
I thought the voice actor on the audiobook was really good.
Yes.
I don't remember who it was, but they did a very good job.
I completely agree with you. Hold on, I'm going to look up who it is because that's worth looking up. What are you doing, Max?
It's probably that Thompson guy, Mark Thompson.
I don't remember. I think it was Mark Thompson, and I think I was really
What is that?
surprised at how much I liked it. Master and Apprentice audiobook. This is compelling radio.
Yeah, talking while you type, so that I know what you're typing.
I was waiting for you guys to fill in the noise, and you weren't doing it.
Talk.
So what's your rating, Jen?
I'd say 9.5 out of 10.
Holy cow!
I thought it was really good.
You talking? I think that's higher than your Lost Stars score.
It probably is. Like
you thought it was better than Lost Stars?
I don't know. It's been so long since I read Lost Stars. I liked it just as much, I think, because I like it more that she drew me into a relationship with two men, like a heterosexual relationship with two men, and drew me in so much to it. Because I've never read a book like that.
Just to be clear, it's a completely asexual relationship.
Yes, that's what I said. I said
You said heterosexual relationship.
They're heterosexuals. They're not
Right, that doesn't mean anything.
homosexuals.
There's no sexuality in it whatsoever.
I kept saying a
Okay.
relationship with two men, and I'm clarifying that it's not.
Yeah, I gotcha. Jonathan Davis
All right.
was the one that narrated the book.
That dude did good.
Yeah, he was good.
So what's your rating, Tim?
I did really like it. It's not my fave of Claudia Gray's books, but I'm gonna give it an 8.
I think 7.5. I didn't dislike it. And I like her as an author, but it wasn't great.
Interesting
Wait,
fact.
what did you give it?
7.5.
Oh.
Interesting fact about Claudia Gray. Her real name is Amy Vincent. Claudia Gray's a pseudonym.
I didn't know that.
That's a pretty
What's
linear.
What's the point of having a pseudonym if everyone knows
your
what
real
name? Like, what is it? Just so it looks better on the stands? But then I could say, why is Amy Vincent not fine? Like,
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
yeah,
in the tier of names, they're on the same tier.
sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
Maybe when you're starting out, a pen name is more in vogue or something.
Or maybe she wrote some just like terrible stuff at the beginning.
And
she didn't want associated with it.
Tabula
anymore.
rasa.
Maybe
I don't know.
she wanted Claudia Gray to be synonymous with Star Wars.
No,
Maybe
she's written way more books in the
she
young
does
adult.
like young adult romance
And
novels,
with Claudia Gray.
fantasy
Yes.
romance novels.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, she does like 3 different series,
Yeah.
not including Star Wars.
Mm.
Yeah, you could.
But
you
she
could go
is
crazy.
doing another Star Wars book.
Is she? Do we know what? Yeah,
I don't think they've announced the title.
I'm
But
into it.
she's working on it.
Max is listening to a YouTube video.
Good.
Sorry.
I really like that in the background of the podcast. It brings me a lot of joy. What else was I going to say? I think that was it about this book. It was really good. Go buy it.
I really liked it.
I think it's
Yeah, it's easily in the top 5 of the books that I've read in the new canon. It's good.
but there wasn't any earth-shattering.
No,
I mean, it was good.
No, but it helped you. It helped me appreciate their working relationship in A Phantom Menace better, and I thought she did a good job at making Obi-Wan seem sufficiently lame, because he was pretty lame in A Phantom Menace, and he was even more lame in this section.
You find out that the reason that they got paired up together is because when Obi-Wan was younger, he was a rule breaker and he was like kind of rebellious, and so they put him with Qui-Gon because Qui-Gon was also a rule bender, and they thought if he's going to rebel, he'll be like perfect as a Jedi if he's with somebody who's like not the perfect Jedi.
Right.
So you find that out he was actually not so lame when he was younger.
And he
Which
was
is weird.
trying to be perfect because Qui-Gon was so good at being a Jedi.
Yeah. Qui-Gon always kind of saw
Didn't
the
follow
gray.
the rules,
You're
right.
Qui-Gon was the one that didn't always do exactly what he was supposed to do. So Obi-Wan wanted to do the opposite and always follow the rules. Oh, and you find out Qui-Gon finally tells him at the end of the book why he always kept him in the first form for fighting or whatever. And it was because he said, basically it was to keep him safe. He never wanted anything bad to happen to Obi-Wan. He wanted him to be the best Jedi he could be and be perfect at that first form, because he said everything depends on your, like...
The whole thing is you're using your instincts, and you want it to be in your muscle memory,
right?
When it comes down to it,
because if you're perfect with that, you don't have to know all the fancy stuff,
and you'll survive.
That's not going to save you, right? And so that's why he kept him there, and he like finally reveals that like he actually really really cares about Obi-Wan and his safety, and he wants him to be perfect, and he really does think he's great, but he's just not good at showing that until the end, and so their relationship gets a lot closer.
Okay, good.
Are you going to talk about what happens at the very end?
No, we're done. Put a pin in it.
What else do we need to say?
I don't know.
We said he didn't join the council.
Yeah.
Well, it goes like way into the future. It has like his deaths, like his funeral.
We already saw that in the movie.
Okay.
It's fine. Nothing. Read the book. I'm going to do a thing that I said that I was going to do that I haven't done yet, but I'm going to do it right now. I read a comic book. I read Doctor Aphra, Volume 1. I know we had reviewed like the first issue, I think, of Doctor Aphra or something a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I actually read the whole first volume, which is the first 5 or 6 issues of the comic. At this point, it came out like in 2017, so it's old news, but...
They're re-releasing it starting next year, right? Or not re-release, but
They're starting it over?
Yeah.
Probably. It's
no, they already announced it.
It's probably. I mean, it. Well, okay. I'm sure they have, but I'm not good at staying up on that news anymore. It actually sold well because she's an interesting character, and so are the characters they surrounded her with. And Gillen does a really good job writing her. So basically, in this like very typical Tim synopsis, short and sweet, she has teamed up with Black Chrysanthemum, the like Wookiee bounty hunter, but only because she owes him money and he wants to get it out of her. So he knows he has to like stick with her so she doesn't try to escape. And this is after she faked her death to get away from Vader.
Yeah. And
so Vader's not chasing her, but she got to take BT and 000 with her, the two like crazy homicidal droids. Yeah. And it's just like, it's really fun. And there's also like some Indiana Jones qualities to it. She first gets a notice like that she's losing her doctorate. She won't be a doctor anymore. And it turns out it's her dad that turned in something to say that the thing she did to get her doctorate.
Because she faked it.
Yeah, she faked it. She faked it by blackmailing somebody, basically. But her dad knew that, and so he was going to release the info unless she helped him explore and try to find this old Jedi, this rogue Jedi camp of whatever, this temple, and go in there and prove that all his life he's been after this sect of the Jedi and their temple, and she has to help him prove that they exist. It's really fun. It's funny. It's charming. And it's got good adventure, good art, good writing. I strongly recommend it. I am excited about Volume 2.
It's being relaunched with the new writer, Alyssa Wong.
Oh, I don't even know.
An artist, Marika Cresta.
I know neither of those. I am a few years removed from comic bookdom, though, so maybe they're super famous now.
I don't know.
Do you want to do some letters, guys?
Well, when we publish this, the Mandalorian TV show will start in 3 days.
Yeah.
What day does Disney Plus start?
3 days.
Yeah. Starts on
What?
Tuesday,
That's a weird day, isn't it?
November 12th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We
like,
still need to get our prescription.
you told me that you had it. Oh, no, that's your Apple one. Never mind.
Yeah, I told you we get that one for a year. So there.
The early rumors are it's pretty good.
It's
And
gotta
that
be.
there's supposedly a giant spoiler in the first or shocking thing in the first episode. And that's why they haven't give any reviewers any copies because they don't want it to leak.
What?
Yeah. Shocking.
I feel shocked already. I haven't
Yeah.
even seen it.
I am excited.
Yeah,
for
I'm
the
hyped.
show.
We should do a podcast after that. Maybe like even the night after it comes out. What do you guys think? What are you doing Tuesday night?
I don't have any plans.
I can podcast. I'm ready. We're going to do it.
Okay.
She doesn't believe me.
I
All right,
don't
let's do
believe
some-
you.
You have
do
to
some-
watch the show and be able to podcast.
Yeah, I can do anything.
All right.
I'm super powered, supercharged, super Tim.
Supercharged. We also need to do an episode about the trailer that came out 2 weeks ago.
We can do that as soon as we're done with this one. We can do a short one with the trailer
What?
and do letters on that one.
You're nuts.
Yeah. May the force be with you.
Is that really what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. This is episode 159. I guess we're going to do the trailer later. Bye.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Did you hear that? We're doomed.
This podcast is a part of the Benview Network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at BenviewNetwork.com.